The Lost Manual of Human Potential. Chapter 1. Learning to See like a Rishi. Most people believe the Vedas are simply ancient books. The Vedic sages saw them differently. To them, the Vedas were Shruti, that which is heard. They believed this wisdom was not invented by human minds, but discovered by minds that had become exceptionally clear and deeply attentive. Whether you embrace that as a spiritual truth or understand it as a historical tradition, the practical lesson remains the same. Truth is not manufactured, it is discovered. And that is where our journey begins. Skill 1. Observe before you name. Language is one of humanity's greatest gifts, yet the ancient seers believed it could also become one of our greatest limitations. Think about something as ordinary as a tree. You look at it. Almost instantly, your mind whispers, tree. In that single moment, something subtle happens. You stop seeing this tree. Instead, you begin seeing your idea of a tree, a collection of memories, assumptions, and labels gathered over years. The sages noticed this tendency. Their goal was never to reject language, but to experience reality before language stepped in, before the mind explained, before it categorized, before it judged. Here's a simple practice. Choose any ordinary object, a leaf, a cup, a pen. Sit with it for 5 quiet minutes. As you observe, your mind will naturally begin speaking. Plastic, old, mine, useful. When those labels appear, don't resist them. Simply notice them, let them pass, and gently return to observing what is actually there. This isn't meditation in the usual sense. It's something more specific. It's training your mind to recognize the difference between direct perception and mental commentary. The Upanishadic tradition returns to this idea again and again. It distinguishes between nama, meaning name, and rupa, meaning form. Texts such as the Chandogya Upanishad encourage us to investigate what lies beneath both names and forms. Historically, this became one of the central themes of Upanishadic inquiry. The teaching is not that names are wrong, only that the name is never the thing itself. Skill 2. Learn to ask better questions. Most children begin with one beautiful question. What is this? The Vedic tradition encouraged students not to stop there. Instead, ask, what causes it? What supports it? What remains, if it changes? And perhaps the deepest question of all, who is the one asking? Notice what happens. Each question carries you beneath the surface. Instead of collecting facts, you begin uncovering relationships. This layered style of inquiry eventually became one of the foundations of Indian philosophical thought. You can practice it today. Choose something you use every day, perhaps your phone. Then ask, what does this depend on? Your phone depends on electricity. Electricity depends on infrastructure. Infrastructure depends on countless people working together. People depend on food. Food depends on nature. One simple object now reveals an entire web of connections. The exercise isn't about finding the perfect answer. It's about training yourself to see that nothing truly exists in isolation. Skill 3. The strength of intellectual humility. One of the most remarkable passages in Vedic literature appears in the Nasadhya Sukta, found in the Rig Veda, Book 10, Hymn 129. The hymn reflects on the mystery of the universe's origin. Then, it ends with extraordinary humility. In paraphrase, who truly knows? Perhaps even the highest overseer. Perhaps he knows, or perhaps he does not. For a text composed more than 3,000 years ago, this is a striking perspective. Rather than claiming absolute certainty, it leaves room for wonder. Historically, many scholars have noted this hymn for its openness and philosophical restraint. Interpretations differ, but its spirit consistently encourages curiosity over dogmatism. You can bring this wisdom into everyday life with one simple habit. Whenever you feel absolutely certain about something, pause, then quietly ask yourself, what evidence could prove me wrong? That single question doesn't weaken your thinking. It strengthens it, because genuine wisdom grows through curiosity, not certainty alone. your first Sanskrit word. Today's word is artha, pronounced rita. It is often translated as cosmic order. That translation is helpful, but it captures only part of the meaning. Artha refers to the principle of harmony that sustains existence. It is reflected in the movement of the stars, the rhythm of the seasons, truthfulness in speech, integrity in action, and the quiet balance that allows life itself to flourish. Within the Vedic tradition, living truthfully was understood as living in alignment with Urta, rather than struggling against it. Your practice for the next 24 hours. Give yourself 3 small challenges. Spend 5 quiet minutes observing one ordinary object without mentally describing it. Choose one everyday thing and ask 5 progressively deeper questions about it. And finally, notice one moment when you reacted to a label instead of the reality in front of you. When the day ends, write down what you discovered, not what you expected to discover, but what you actually noticed. The path ahead. This journey is about far more than reading ancient scriptures. Together, we'll learn to observe with the clarity of a Rishi. We'll explore how the Upanishadic philosophers reasoned, how the thinkers of the Nyaya tradition developed rigorous methods of logic, how yoga trains attention, how Vedic rituals communicate through symbols, and how ancient Indian thinkers recognize patterns of mistaken thinking in ways that still resonate today. Our goal is not simply to know more about ancient India. It is to cultivate a clearer mind, a deeper way of seeing, and a more discerning way of living. Because knowledge, in its highest form, doesn't merely change what you know, it changes how you see. And once your way of seeing changes, the world itself begins to look different. So before we continue to the next chapter, carry these practices with you. Observe before you name. Question before you conclude. And remain humble enough to let reality teach you something new.